He meant someone will break in his car.
Yeah, but possession's still
But
19th
here's
the
what's
law.
taking place. This is already passed. I think tomorrow in St. Charles it becomes illegal. Jefferson County, I think, is doing it municipality by municipality. Franklin County has passed it. All of the municipalities directly across from St. Charles, Florissant, Hazelwood, they're scrambling to get this ordinance passed because you can't buy it in St. Charles. You jump across the river into Florissant where you can buy it. And let's face it, if I buy it in Florissant, I'm in Wentzville, and I go all the way into St. Louis County to get it. I'm not going to drive it all the way home to make it, because now they have what's called the one batch method, 20-ounce bottle, 2-liter bottle, whatever. Just like what John has there, they make it on a very small scale, and they make it as they go down the road. That's why all those other municipalities are scrambling.
Mobile.
And City of Troy is considering this ordinance, and if they pass it, it's really a moot point for us because there's only one other pharmacy in the county that's up in Ellsbury. See, we don't have any pharmacies in unincorporated Lincoln County.
I don't think we need to have a law that, you know, you get a prescription and purchase these items. First of all, when you go to get a prescription, you have to go to a doctor. And with the cost of everything going up, people going to their doctors have to pay co-pays or they have to pay for a doctor visit, and it's only going to cause a burden on people that are ill and that need it. Secondly, if you want to pass a law on the amount that you can have in your possession at any one time.
They have that.
So,
What about people who have no insurance and they have to pay this, you know, pay the doctor out of their own pocket? Or I know someone on Medicaid having trouble to find the doctor that will take her.
This isn't my answer. This is when that question was posed. They quoted the number of dollars that the state invests in. They tell you what it costs to clean the sites up, the meth lab sites, the amount of money that it takes to the children that are displaced from the homes where they're manufacturing. Huge number. And the opposing argument is that it's costing us already because our tax dollars, instead of funding programs such as senior health care, are being diverted to clean up behind the people who want to manufacture methamphetamine. That's what their argument is.
Well, I know that the law enforcement, because I've seen in the Journal or the Post, they're all pushing this strongly. They've been up here. Well, they've been up here, of course.
Well, that's who starts it all every time is law enforcement, for sure.
Yeah. Well, number one, why isn't there a stronger jail time for these people? Why isn't the law enforcement even stronger so that it might prevent this, rather than all of us losing our freedom?
Right.
To go buy something like that we need. I mean, and from what I've heard in some of the talk radio stations, is that they're asthmatics or people with COPD or whatever, and this is an important ingredient in their therapy. I know they have to get it from the doctor probably because they're on medication, but to even make it more so hard for this, it's just...
And the argument, the point to that is, and I have a son that he doesn't have asthma, he has reactive airway disorder. If you have asthma and allergies so bad that you need Sudafed round the clock, you have a physician. You're going to the doctor. It's not like if you have to have it to stay alive because of your breathing disorders, you're under a physician's care anyway. But I'm not entirely sold on how much, my son just did turn 12. He's been treated for this disease. You're not supposed to take Sudafed, anything with ephedrine in it, if you're under 12 years old. The argument is, my child's going to suffer if you do this. Your child shouldn't be taking it anyway. Because I've seen the influence of things that don't contain Sudafed. When my son had to do the mask with the breathing machine,
Breathing therapy.
where he would end up 4 years old going like this, and I said, no way are we going to do that again.
Yeah.
And that didn't contain ephedrine. John?
Have you had any conversations or discussions with any of the legislators about any possible law coming next year? If there's been talk about making this a state law? Because all this effort would be trumped then. I mean.
Right. The goal, this all started with a press conference down in St. Charles. Elected officials, sheriffs, prosecutors, St. Louis County, everybody in this area was brought in.
You went to that meeting and.
Yeah. Yeah. We sat down and the whole gist of the conversation was this needs to be statewide. And it comes up every year, or last year was the most prevalent one. But to make a statement to the legislators, hey, that's why we did it in a small county area. Now what's happened since that press conference, I would have to verify this, but I'm pretty confident in these figures. There's approximately, round figures, 1,200 pharmacies in the state of Missouri. Between 400 and 500 already have a restriction. By Christmas, they hope to have that to 600. They're going to have half the state covered anyway. And the half the state they're covering, your Walmarts, your Walgreens, and
Some are automatically.
Right.
Yeah.
The Walmart in Moberly, Missouri, small player. They don't have the restriction, but they're not moving the amount of pseudoephedrine. Southwest St. Louis County, Northeast Franklin County, Jefferson County, where they all come together, they put the ban in place, I want to say in Franklin County, and you could track the meth sales. You jump across the county line, the meth sales went to the roof. Well, now they're closing them out there. But, in 2010, we had 37 meth lab busts. Was it 2010 or 2009? I think it was last year. In Linc County, we had 37 busts, which is a bad number. Jefferson County in that same period had 124.
I just wonder if doing it in the pockets of areas like they're proposing doesn't just move the problem.
Well, it's actually the effort that started Franklin, Lincoln, St. Charles, Jefferson, St. Louis counties. I talked to someone down in Dunklin County, maybe somewhere Dunklin down the Boot Hill. There's a group of 9 counties down there that want to do it. They just didn't have the gentleman that came and spoke in favor of this is from Franklin County. Mm-hmm. If you've seen the program on, I think it's on Discovery or A&E or one of those, he's been on TV many times. He's just not been down there. As once they read it in the paper, people started calling me. I said, well, you got to talk to Sergeant Grellner, if you want to get more information about this. And that's why he thinks he can have 600, he can have half the pharmacies in the state locked up. He's also working over, there's a pocket of meth abuse, Newton, Jasper County, around Joplin.
Mm-hmm. Vernon, Barton.
Yeah, right around in there, there's a cluster where the Walmart Sudafed sales are to the moon. Mm-hmm. And yet it's just gonna keep moving the problem, but you're making it harder and harder and harder and harder. And the thing that shocks me the most about pseudoephedrine, you can take, I don't know what is measured in grams maybe, however much of that you take. I take that into a lab environment, I have a 90 to 95% output. If I have, let's say I have a big bunch, I have a pound of pills, say a big jar of pills, I'm going to get almost a pound of finished product put on the street. That's in a lab environment. If you're in the back seat of a car, you can still succeed at the rate of 70 to 75%. So I can get a pound of pills and turn it into 75 or 3/4 of a pound of finished product. And here's why St. Louis County is going crazy about this. Heroin is the real problem.
Heroin's killing more people right now.
Heroin is the real problem. Here's what people are doing. Let's say I'm a heroin addict. I have a $10 bill. I can take it down on the street corner and I can buy what's called a button of heroin. I don't know how long it'll last you, but it's the increment they sell. I can take a $10 bill. What they're doing, they're taking a $10 bill, they're going to Walgreens, they're buying a box of Sudafed. They're buying the $10 box, probably the 12-hour, not the real powerful stuff, but they're buying $10 worth of Sudafed. They're taking that to the meth manufacturer. It brings $100 on the street. So now my $10 is $100. I'm going to my heroin dealer, I'm putting my original 10 in my pocket, I have 9 buttons, I'm gonna consume a few, I'm gonna sell a few. See, St. Louis the heroin problem in St. Louis is just crazy. But the methamphetamine, they call it smurfing, getting the raw material to the dealers is what is fueling the heroin trade in St. Louis County. And we have a heroin problem here. But anybody else have anything? We're at 2:30.
To answer your question, I guess I'm opposed to passage of legislation.
Okay.
But by not passing it, you're going to have, or you do have legislation, you're going to have an influx of people coming in to the county.
That's one thing I have to consider.
Yeah.
Today I just heard the opposing viewpoint. I'm a long way from being ready to say I'm ready to make a decision. But
It's tough.
in the back of my mind, I have to say, what is the area around Walmart and Troy going to become like? And this county has no shortage of out-of-the-way, abandoned places where somebody could go and make a lot of trouble.
But remember, what that guy said, it's reported across state lines. The sale of it, and they deny, 5,000 people have been denied a purchase of it since January 1 with the implementation of this system that they talked about in Missouri. So, some of it's working.
It's denied the 4th purchase, though. That's where I get hung up, because box 1, 2, and 3 got out there, and I know.
I mean, I have 4 boxes at home that I bought at Costco. Problem is, they've been there 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, when I get hay fever in the spring, it's one of the best things to dry up your nose. I mean, I mean, the 4 boxes have been there for 5 years.
Right.
Right.
Dottie, did you have something?
I just wanted to talk to you about a purchase. Is it all right? I mean,
Okay, I have to run to the restroom. I'll come back.